Hello and welcome to our first official Paw Patrol update. I'm Cheetah and this is...
And I'm Icebox.
Yep, and we're the writers and directors of the Eurofriends Paw Patrol. And we are sitting in Icebox's kitchen here.
Having breakfast.
Having breakfast, yeah. And why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about what we've done here this weekend and
what did we do?
What the progress on the script so far is for 2018.
So what did we do? We met for the second time now for script writing, and by now we have the first scenes already done, at least in a good state, so that we can say, okay, this is how the story will start. And this is how we are introducing the characters to you. And
so what's it going to be about?
What's it going to be about? Yeah, of course we're not going to tell you too much right now for two reasons. First reason, we don't want to spoiler you, and the second reason, we don't know. First, so we know it will be a space story without big, all the big stuff like teleportation or anything like that.
Yeah, we're trying to go for a classic science fiction story and less for a Star Trek, Star Wars type of space opera.
So we are not going to go with warp speed from one galaxy to the next. We're staying in the solar system.
We have no faster than light transport,
or communication.
Pretty much all the other things are solved, so the energy problem is solved. People can travel freely within the solar system. Earth is overpopulated and the big corporations have started mining extraterrestrial bodies for minerals and resources. You have a class of very rich people living on Earth, being able to afford everything they want. And you have another class of society that's basically the off-world workers. Earth laws still apply to them because it's their employers that pay for their food.
Bills, basically, yes.
And the off-world workers eventually discovered that being far away from Earth also gives you a certain degree of freedom, no matter if the powers that be want it or not. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of space for conflict in that.
We pretty much have all the characters defined, and we have a good idea of where we are going, but we don't have the details yet.
Yeah, we don't know how it ends.
Not sure.
And the central conflict of the whole thing is still kind of vague. We know there's going to be some threat to Earth.
Oh yes.
And there's going to be opposing factions, quite obviously, because there needs to be, otherwise we don't have a story. People are going to shoot at each other.
Oh yes, and
they're going to swear.
Yes,
they're going to swear a lot.
Yes, the first fuck given of this year was in line 130.
And that was much later than we thought it would be.
Yes, so you can just look forward to that. I'm not sure. Do we have to bleep that out? No, we don't.
On the Patreon, maybe.
Yeah, it could be. So
there will be a second tier for Patreon donations, and that will give you access to the unbleeped material. Just kidding.
Some download hidden away.
Just kidding. Okay, spoiler warning.
Yeah, in case you can actually see or read something in the fine print on the screen.
I don't know if you can see this on camera. This is the environment we're using to collaboratively write the script. It's our own instance of Etherpad. And multiple people can log into this. You can see up here who's watching or editing this document right now. Every author has a different set of authorship colors. As you can see here, most of the stuff was written by me. And while I write this, Icebox sits over there on a second laptop and makes corrections and additions on the go. And that's the stuff that you can see in blue. And after the draft of the scene is finished, we put all this into our internal documentation.
Yeah, and we use a wiki page system for that.
Here's all the super secret Eurofriends organization stuff. And here you can see our current title.
Yes.
It is a temporary title. It's the Procrastination Show. This is where all further editing takes place. And in the process of the script writing, about every week something gets changed. You can see the old revisions in the wiki. For example, here is a change that Kaki Doggy checked in.
His comments, his changes, his suggestions for other dialogue, and then we can see it side by side, what we wrote, and then what he suggested would be a good idea to change. And then we go over that, and in the end we take some pieces of that, we leave some pieces of that out. or rewrite the part altogether if we find that it's just not working?
We're meeting around every 2 or 3 weeks, depending how our personal calendars allow. Every second meeting is here in Fürth, in
My kitchen?
in his kitchen, and every other meeting is in Krefeld, in my kitchen.
Or your living room.
Yeah.
More likely in the living room. Yeah, that's funny because the kitchen is a very uncomfortable place to be. So you don't slack off in the kitchen. So you're just here to work on this stuff. The only thing that distracts me over there is that thing there, the coffee machine. But I already have my coffee.
I can give you a little view on how this looks from the other side.
Yeah, that's what we see.
We always know what's for dinner. That's nice.
That's true. That's true.
So, what I'd like to show you now is a little insight in our design process. And since it's going to be a story that takes place in space, we are going to need spacesuits. And as you might imagine, putting spacesuits on puppets is not going to be very easy. So it's one of the things we started planning early, so we can have one built for the first rehearsal in the end of May. And we've looked at quite a few already existing designs for spacesuits, and the one that we liked the most was this concept study by SpaceX. It has a very body-tight design, so it's not as bulky and as big as typical spacesuits used to be in the past, which is important for us when we're going to play these on puppets. And it also needs to be easy to put on and take off. First thing, which is probably going to be the most complicated part, is the helmets. We need helmets that fit on our large puppet heads, including ears and snouts and everything. And you still need to be able to see the face of the puppet inside. The thing we looked at as a possible base is this respirator mask. You can buy these from China for maybe 25 euros. And this one has a nice large visor made of plastic. And one of the ideas we had is to strip away all the actual respirator parts and just keep the visor. And we put this one on Makani for a test. And as you can see, it does roughly have the right size, but we still need to come up with something for the ears.
The ear problem.
It's a general problem. Where do you put ears in spacesuits? It's still a little bit unresolved. So we made more test shots with Makani. And what you can see here is that you can tilt the visor a little bit to accommodate the funny shape of the animal muzzle. And there's more of that.
Theo had this overall kind of thing for the puppet on the left side, you can see. And
the idea is to use a white bodysuit consisting of a children's-sized t-shirt and custom-made gloves. And then use fabric markers to put some spacesuit-like markings on it.
The stripes are a design that Pan made to simulate all the patches that would be on a real spacesuit. So there is 3D representations of a possible solution. It's a model for the print.
For the 3D print that Fervin made. It fits the visor from the respirator mask, and it has cutouts for the ears here, and it consists of 3 parts that swivel around the head. So if the characters need to put on and take off this head, we can get them dressed in a timely manner.
There's probably no way we can put on or take off a helmet in plain view. We are looking at that, but well, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, these are all preliminary designs. We are not sure which one is going to make it, or if any of these will make it into the final production. Things
that we need to consider here is that this will take a lot of material. And that also brings up the price. With sourcing the respirators, we're already talking about probably around between 50 and 60 euros per helmet, and that does not even include the time it takes to build these. Okay, and although we have barely 2 scenes written, work on new puppets has already begun. This is one of the early head bases that Theo has made. We've established a more or less standard process for 3D printing the skulls of the puppets, which contain all the mechanical parts. And to be honest, I'm not really sure what kind of species this is going to be. I'm going to have to ask Theo what it's going to be. We have two puppets that are going to be main characters. One is a raccoon and one is a snow leopard. And my guess it's going to be one of the two.
Hello and welcome to my workshop. My name is Theo and I started to build some parts for puppets today that will be used in the Eurofurence puppet show. So here we've got one body that is, well, work in progress, and another one that's almost ready to get the fur on. Well, I don't know what kind of puppet this will be, because the script is not finished, so I just used one of my 3D printed heads to illustrate how it could look, but it will probably be another species.
And another puppet updates comes from Dati, and he's created a little tiger-fox hybrid, and we don't really know which role this cute little guy is going to play, but yeah, we were trying to convince him to optimize this puppet to be one of the main roles, which is going to be nice. All right, so that's it for our very first update. I hope you enjoyed it. As soon as we have the details of the Patreon campaign available, we're going to link them in down below. And please spread the word, tell people about our campaign. We're looking forward to your help. So thank you very much for watching, and see you next time in the Puppet Show.